I swear to God, half the people in Pixelgun 3D have zero skill in the game. You know what? Many of the people watching this video right now have zero skill in the game. Yeah, you, watching the video right now. You could be one of those people. And guess what? It's not even your fault. It's Rilisoft's. I am sick and tired of how utterly broken Pixelgun 3D has come to be, and how a majority of Pixelgun 3D players are using this to their advantage. Now before you start disliking this video, watch it through, and then give me your opinions at the end. If you disagree with what I'm saying, you're part of the problem. And if what I'm saying doesn't really pertain to you, thank you. Thanks for actually being one of those few commendable Pixelgun 3D players. Let's begin by asking a few questions. Why are so many weapons so unbelievably overpowered in this game? Why are these weapons so easy to obtain? Why are many of the weapons vastly underpowered compared to some of the others? Why are there so many people who hack the game, and why is nothing done about it? Why is this game so pay to win? Does Rilisoft ever even play their own game to figure out problems? And lastly, why doesn't Rilisoft ever listen to our opinions and suggestions? Because many of us who actually play the game probably have a better idea than the developers. Our biggest problems in Pixelgun 3D have been happening since the very beginning. I remember the first time I saw Pixelgun 3D in the App Store and I first downloaded it in November 2013, it cost $1.99. And I truly believe the day this changed, where Pixelgun 3D became free, that was the origin of it all, of all our problems. The truth is, Pixelgun 3D was better off as a paid-for app, and you may be shocked that I'm saying such a dastardly thing, but I'll explain exactly why throughout this video. Soon after the game became free, gems were introduced, and that's when everything went downhill. See, one of the huge problems with introducing gems is the fact that not all too many people who play this game can actually afford them, as most of the player base of this game are between the ages of 7 and 15. And because of this, and because of the human's natural instinct of wanting something we don't have, it has caused a rippling effect that hurts us to this very day. Let's begin by talking about overpowered weapons. Overpowered weapons have been the biggest problem in this game, practically since the very beginning. I can remember in 2013 and 2014, the Crystal Crossbow, Arc Image Dragon 1, Prototype, and Anti-Gravity Blaster were the crazy OP weapons in this game. I even made a rant about those weapons in 2014, and surprisingly enough, Rilisoft actually did something about it, but only temporarily. In fact, their little solution set the stage for a consistent problem of overpowered weapons to this day. Instead of nerfing those weapons, which would have been the obvious choice to anyone who's played the game for a decent amount of time, they instead added in wooden armor. Now, this did help, temporarily, for the select few weapons that were a problem. But the thing is, the other weapons that were performing just fine at no armor level were now quite underpowered. Think the Eindringling and the Old Comrade. Now, those weapons were really difficult to use, and because of that, everyone shifted over to the few weapons that worked best at wooden and steel armor levels. So, Rilisoft, being the clueless company that it is, must have thought the average weapon was the Anti-Gravity Blaster, since no one else was using the lesser powerful weapons to indicate a difference in stats. And in fact, the Anti-Gravity Blaster was the most powerful one out there. So because of that, they started adding in even more powerful weapons with the intention that they would be better than average, which they thought average was the Anti-Gravity Blaster. So they added in weapons like the Plasma Releaser, the Hellraiser, and then the whole process repeated. Everyone started using those weapons, started complaining, Rilisoft bumped up the armor even more, and now weapons like the Combat Rifle and the Desert Eagle were very difficult to use. This has kept repeating consistently to this very day, and in the process adding insanely overpowered weapons like the Storm Hammer, Anti-Hero Rifle, Smart Bullet Bazooka, Trapper, and of course, the Ghost Lantern. This has all happened while continuing to increase the armor level and continuing to make weapons weaker and weaker. So now, try and get a monster kill with the Anti-Gravity Blaster. The weapon used to be OP. Now it's not. That's shown how much of a difference weapons have become in Pixelgun 3D. That is a huge, huge problem that needs to be fixed. But don't worry, everyone who's watching this, and of course Rilisoft, if by chance you happen to be stopping by this video, I have a solution to fixing this game, to bringing it back to the level of stability that it once had in 2013. Instead of increasing the armor even more, nerf many of the weapons. For once, create yourself a level 31 account, try out each and every weapon, and see which ones are a problem, because I can name a whole lot that need some fixing. If you look at other first-person shooter games, like Call of Duty as a most direct example, and that's by far not the best example, for the most part, there isn't a huge difference between stats of weapons, and you can get kills with every weapon there is in the game. So why is this not a thing in Pixel Gun 3D? You need to nerf the weapons at the highest brackets and buff up the weapons that are neglected at the lower bracket, so a gun like the Last Kiss actually has a chance to compete against the solar-powered cannon. So a weapon like the Golden Friend isn't a complete joke and can actually take out an adamant armored player. But that's just scratching the surface. Speaking of the Golden Friend and weapons in the Lucky Chest, any particular reason why the Lucky Chest guns are extremely underpowered? I would have thought by now you would understand that they are extremely hard to obtain and they should be some of the most powerful weapons out there. And talking about powerful weapons, why is it that you can buy a weapon like the Stormhammer or the Ghost Lantern in the store? These are weapons that should be in the Lucky Chest, where it is amazingly hard to obtain them. If a weapon can be bought from the store, it shouldn't be an overpowered weapon, and it should be nerfed to the point where a weapon from the Lucky Chest is slightly better. This way, only a select few players who are willing to take risks with the Lucky Chest and may by chance get lucky with the Lucky Chest, no pun intended, they will be the ones who will actually have the more powerful weapons. But they should never be overpowered. See, here's the biggest problem. There are far too many weapons that are able to one-shot kill an enemy player. And whose great idea was it to add practically more area damage weapons than actual assault rifles? Look at the other games. Call of Duty, Battlefield, even other iOS games like Bullet Force and Modern Combat 5. I don't see 64 area damage weapons in those games, which is, by the way, how many Pixel Gun 3D has. There are only 32 weapons in the primary section that you can really call true primary guns. And why is that half the amounts of area damage guns? There should be very few area damage weapons, and in each update, you should focus more on adding in weapons that actually require skill to use. Try adding in weapons like the SWAT rifle or the Hitman pistol more often. The thing is, there are a total of 20 weapons with a one-shot kill capability, and at least 15 others that have practically the same power as a one-shot kill weapon. That's too many. Think of something like the Smart Bullet Bazooka, which is about as bad as it gets. If it has an auto-aiming capability, it should be severely nerfed to make up for the zero skill required to use it. The only weapons that should be a one-shot kill should be the prototype, anti-hero rifle, Big Buddy, Stinger, and maybe one or two other premium weapons. Obviously, more sniper rifles would be able to get a one-shot headshots, but a one-shot special weapon and a one-shot backup weapon? That shouldn't be happening. That's just making the game far too overpowered. And with the area damage weapons, they obviously can't be removed, so most of them should be nerfed considerably, and very few, if any more, should be added into the game. I don't think Rilisoft really plays their game at the max level, because if they did, and they just went for 5 seconds in a map like Silent School or Coliseum, they could see it's just utter chaos, and far too many explosions are happening. Who likes to join into servers and to die every 5 seconds? I know I don't. I want to actually attempt to stay alive a decent amount of time, maybe even get some good kill streaks, and not dying so insanely easily. So, something needs to be done. Now, we talked about the overpowered weapons, but what about the items? Some of them are huge problems too. Here are my suggestions for Rilisoft to make them less overpowered, because truthfully, an item should only be a last resort thing and not a regularly used weapon like we see now. At this point in time, the time regeneration between using an item is very fast, and I personally think that's very bad. Because of this, you can see in some of my more recent videos, things like the singular grenade are a huge problem. People using them every 10 to 15 seconds is outrageous, and really enough to make people rage quit the game. I personally think a player should spawn into a server with 2 uses of an item and not be able to switch between items in a match. Therefore, instead of the ability to use an item around 10 times in a match, it's greatly decreased to around 2. Also, some items should be nerfed, like the singular grenade. Perhaps the spread of the gravity could be reduced, amongst other items that we all know are far too overpowered. Okay, in the middle of the video, I'd like to add some suggestions to improve the game before we get into the hacking and pay-to-win segments. First off, Rilisoft. Why are you deleting so many maps each update? Whatever happened to Aztec Temple, Mafia Mansion, and Bridge? I know you do this because they are unpopular, but the thing is, some people still like to play in those maps, and occasionally they are nice to dive into once in a while, instead of the constant silent school gameplay that must be dealt with 24/7. Also, there are far too many spamming weapons. Think the toy bomber. When the Storm Hammer and the Mines Launcher existed, that was plenty. But now there are like 15 others. That's ridiculous. Why did you remove so many options when creating a match? It was nice that you could determine the amount of players you wanted, the time allotted per each match, amongst other things. Add those back in when people create custom servers. You have to update other game modes. Add more maps into Deadly Games, co-op survival, and other modes. By the way, stop removing weapons. Many weapons like the Pitbull, Mega Destroyer, Water Rifle, and Tesla Cannon are no longer obtainable. And why is that? Is it because you've hit the maximum number of allotted spaces in your program? In that case, develop a better program to hold more weapons. My account works perfectly fine, and I have every weapon in the history of the game. A very obvious problem is crashing on many people's devices, but that can probably be due partly to the fact that there are far too many area damage weapons, like I mentioned earlier. Take out grenades from Deadly Games. While they're a neat addition, they aren't really suitable for that game mode, where it's all about the cold, hard, old gun gameplay. By the way, speaking about Deadly Games, you need to get rid of spawn killing. There should be a 5 to 10 second time where you can't get killed, so you can actually get your weapon without the fear of somebody knifing you at the very beginning. Fix the lag. It's a major problem. Like, for example, you move clearly out of the way of the ghost from the ghost lantern, but for some reason, even though you're like a good 10 feet or like 5 meters away, you still get hit. Get rid of the glitch that allows any gun in Sniper Forts. If you play Sniper Forts, you'd see how much of a big problem that actually is. The weapons that have special abilities, like making you run slower, are cool, but I feel like the special ability is a bit too much. It should be lowered down a bit. And I have many other ideas to potentially make the game better than ever, but I'll save that for another video. In the meantime, listen to players' ideas. Listen to what people have to say on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, because some are great ideas. Now, in truth, many are not, and you have to make educated guesses to determine what things players suggest are either too overpowered or just not suitable for the game. But, given the fact that you have been developing this game for a long time, I'm sure you can figure out what's best for the game. Or maybe not. Yikes. Just, if you have any questions, message me on Twitter, alright? I've been playing this game for over 3 years now, so I do know a bit about how it works, okay? Now, remember before I mentioned the lucky chest and how it should be implemented better? Rilisoft, listen to me. If you're scared about losing money, don't worry. I got you. All you gotta do is place some of the best weapons in the lucky chest and people will pay to attempt to get them. And if you make the game $1.99 again, you can lower the price of all the weapons in the store, and like I said, nerf the store-bought weapons to become average weapons. Now, the thing is, this will not cure the problem, because hacking will still be a major problem, perhaps even more so now with the lucky chest being used more often. So, something must be done with people hacking. Ah, the Pay2win section, the section I've wanted to talk about for a while. Judging by the massive amount of people that do hack the game, many of you are probably pretty mad about what I said earlier. But hey, it's the truth. You hack, you risk the consequences. I personally believe a big problem to this all, the reason why so many people are hacking, is because of the many YouTubers that post new hack tutorials each and every update. That's bad. It's encouraging others to hack, and when someone hacks the first time, what are they gonna do? Get the OP weapons, of course. Now, I'm not hating on the people themselves that post these videos, because a lot of them are really nice people, and my friends as well. But the content that they post is bad, and a hack tutorial is not benefiting the community at all. At this point, all of you are probably saying, but wait, Exotic, I don't have money, so I need to hack the game. It's too pay to win. That's where Rilisoft's fault comes in. They are the reason why this has happened. I truly believe if they make the game $1.99 once again and add many of the most powerful weapons into the lucky chest, which they would be bought with by gems from the lucky chest, Rilisoft will earn enough money to be able to lower the prices of many of the weapons in the store and perhaps eliminate gems in the store in their entirety. So that's good. That's what you all want. You want to be able to play the game and eventually, after many hours of gameplay, be able to earn all the weapons in the store. Not everything can be paid with gems because you can't get gems unless you pay real money. The only reason gems should be in the game is for the lucky chest. Honestly, Rilisoft, just take a look at Bullet Force and Modern Combat 5 and see how their chest systems work. And you can get a pretty good idea from that. But hopefully, after Rilisoft listens to this, everyone who's watching this won't need to hack. YouTubers won't need to post hack tutorials, and people will actually be able to get many of the weapons in the game simply by playing for them. But they still don't cure all the problems. In conclusion, it's starting to sound like an essay. This is what I envision Pixel Gun 3D to be like in the near future. The game cost $1.99. There is no weapon that is completely outrageous in terms of stats like we see now. Cough cough, Ghost Lantern. The underpowered weapons are buffed, so they can compete with max armor and better weapon users. The best weapons are placed in the lucky chest, where gems are used to potentially obtain them, and it is quite difficult to get these weapons. Perhaps the price to open a chest can be raised to maybe 10 gems or 15 gems, so Rilisoft can actually earn revenue and not revert back to its old ways. Every weapon in the store is one you can actually obtain through many hours of gameplay, and it should all be paid for by coins. And none of these weapons are insanely overpowered. You should be rewarded more when you win a match. I'd say 10 coins per 7-minute match and 5 coins per 3-minute match is pretty suitable. At the rate now of 3 coins per win, it's very difficult to get guns that are 300 coins in price. The items should be paid for with gems to eliminate potential spamming with them. The weapons in the lucky chest should be the most powerful, as they are the only ones that are bought with real money. The lazy people that don't want to play the game to earn the coins to get the weapons in the store, who try to hack their way to victory, will be stopped by either a moderator in a server or a system itself that analyzes the player account to see suspicious behavior. It can't be that hard to analyze accounts and notice a problem when one account goes from 17 gems to 1,450,000 gems in a matter of seconds. But the thing is, the people that actually enjoy the game don't even need to worry about hacking because they can obtain all the weapons aside from the lucky chest weapons simply from playing. And hopefully, with that, Rilisoft can make a much more balanced weapon game that is a heck of a lot more fun and doesn't encourage cheating. Hopefully, this game can get out of the hole that it has dug and not continue to be paid to win like it is today. That's what I at least hope will happen. As for final words, if you guys did agree with what I said, make sure to leave a like. It's very important that you like, comment, subscribe, and share the video all over the place. I don't care if it's Rilisoft's Facebook, Twitter, or otherwise, because they need to see this. The more you all share this, the better chance something can be done about this game. And I want something done. People always complain about Pixel Gun 3D, so I've finally gone and done a video, hopefully talking about all the topics that needed to be covered. If there was anything I missed, feel free to leave a comment down below telling me what you think needs fixing, and I'll be sure to read them all. So with that being said, hopefully Rilisoft watches this video, and let's see what happens. Will they listen to their player base? Will they care about their fans? Who knows? I guess we'll have to find out.